Good afternoon, evening, everybody. Starting to get dark out. So I was inside uploading the video that I did earlier, and the Snotty Nose Rez Kids video, and this one just popped up, and I was like, okay, I gotta watch this. This isn't a music video. It looks like it's a little snippet interview. It's about 5 minutes long. It's titled "What the Elders Thought About the White Man's Language." So this just popped up on my feed here, and I got to check it out. So I figured I'd do a quick reaction to it. My great grandmother, she says, I want you to learn the language of the white man. Take some of their words and put them in your mouth. Taste them and learn about how they use their words and their language. We share this information. All right, I got to stop right there. That is freaking awesome. Just the descriptive quality. Take some of the words, put it in your mouth. Taste them. Like, that's just, I love it. The descriptive nature of a word. Because these days, and it's not, I don't think it's definitely or definitively like segregated by ethnic group or color of your skin or where you're from or history, but the youth, the younger generations, I don't think take as much care or thought with what the words truly mean. And maybe that's just me being a, what do they call us, a boomer. Even though I'm not a baby boomer. So it's just kind of funny. I just love that description. With you in good faith. My great grandmother is told that she was 6 years old when she and her family made their journey back from Huete, way back in 1868. And she lived to be quite elderly. She was already quite elderly when she was in 1947 and 48. She still was very much in charge of teaching her family and encouraging her family to do the things that they needed to do in what she considered was a changing time. And it was after World War II. Many things changed, and our environment even became very different. But my great-grandmother, I remember a time that she had a good number of her grandchildren, great-grandchildren, at her hogan. And there was about maybe 15 or so of us that was with her at that one time. And for some reason, she was the only adult that I remember at that time. And she prepared us a big pot of mutton stew, and she fixed fried bread and set out this place for us to eat on the hogan floor. And we were all sitting around waiting to eat. And she says, "Option," which means wait, my children. And he says, which is, let me tell you this. And so we were all just waiting for the food, and there it was, sitting there waiting for us. But she wanted us to pay attention to what she said. She said, of all of the things I want to encourage you to do in the years ahead, in the days ahead, she says, I want you to learn the language of the white man. Take some of their words and put them in your mouth. Taste them and learn about them and see what it is that how they use their words and their language. And so she encouraged us to learn how to speak the English language and to use it in our lives. And so I understood at a very early age what she was saying. But she also was a person that spoke Spanish. She spoke Zuni. She spoke, of course, the language of our people, but other native languages as well. But she did not speak English. She knew very few words. And I remember one time that she was trying to explain to us meaning what she understood to mean 100%. She put out her hands, both hands, and she says, all 10 hands, and which meant all 10 fingers would equal 100%. And so those are the things that I remember about my great-grandmother and some of the teaching. But her teaching of learning the language in that, the English language, and understanding the meanings of those words was very important to her. And so to this day, I encourage my own children, my own grandchildren, to understand the correct meaning of the words, of the ne, and also the correct translation of the words into English, and the importance of knowing the language and being able to pass that on to the next generation. And so the teaching of our people is more recent as to me, as to my great-grandmother. I consider that very much a teaching of the old people. Today is the same situation. I have teachings in that I want to share with people that I have found are very true and that they are consistent with the ones that were passed down to me. The way that I was told, we have a number of different people that concur with the information that we share with you. They were the ones that heard it firsthand from their grandfathers and their grandmothers. And so we share this information with you in good faith, that we try to use the correct information. And we use the language of the English-speaking people, because so many of our young people don't understand the language of our people.
So, quick note, he was touching on, and it was showing the map down there, Fort Sumner, Navajo Territory, which is modern-day New Mexico area. So my wife's family is all from northern New Mexico area, Poake, some of the pueblos and stuff like that. And it's just kind of funny the way he was talking about his grandmother spoke Spanish and different native languages other than just the Navajo language. It's kind of interesting because my wife's family, they are very heavily, the Spanish conquistadors came over, and then the other half of their family is, Native American indigenous from this area. We live in southern Colorado, so not quite down to New Mexico now. They've moved north in the late or early 1900s, I believe, is when my wife's family came up to this area. But it is kind of funny because the language they speak, since a lot of it comes from not like Mexico Spanish, but old Spain Spanish, there are words that are still used in languages that are mixed with everything from Old Spanish to, up in my area, Ute, different Pueblo languages, even a little bit of French mixed in. And so some of the languages are just so fascinating to me. So like the version of Spanish-ish language that my wife's parents learned growing up was not really, I mean, it's similarities, of course, but it was not, on par with like what Mexican Spanish is today or anything like that. So it's kind of interesting that he touched on that.
In the world today, there are so many ways to learn and to gain knowledge. The ability to read the written language, to read the cursive, to be able to look at the various symbols and forms and that, and to be able to understand what is put down there in print is very important. If you can read anything at all, if you can understand the vocabulary and the words and how they are put together, you can pretty well learn just about anything that there is to learn, because somebody has written out the plan, and to be able to follow the steps to apply that information that you're seeking and wanting to learn. So you can learn about science and all of the different things about mechanics and the other, so many different information and that is available. And if you can read well, if you can comprehend, then that is the thing that you should probably be seeking. And we encourage that with all of our young people. So I share this information with you and share with you the things that we are told.
So I'm not familiar with this group at all, NavajoTraditionalTeachings.com, but this is a pretty cool video they put out. So yeah, it's really interesting the way he talks about it with, obviously generational stories being handed down, and how important it is for us to tell our kids and our grandkids especially. Because I don't know about you, but when I was, I don't know, in my 20s or my early mid 20s and I started having kids, I was still a little bit of oh, I got this, mom and dad. Like, I'm an adult now. I know what I'm doing. So I think it was really important for them to share stories with my kids as they were growing up, to kind of anchor them as to where they came from. So I think that's pretty interesting. But like I said, I am really fascinated with the language. This whole area, New Mexico, southern Colorado, is so heavily Spanish, indigenous mixes throughout generations. We did the ancestry on my wife, and it was funny because you get back maybe 3 generations. I think late 1800s was as far as we could get back on the indigenous side on ancestry anyways, just because of records and everything. And then on the other side, it was Spanish from the Canary Islands in the early 1800s or something like that, and then over to Spain, and that was it. Like, that whole side you could trace back to freaking who knows when, 1500s probably. So it's pretty interesting, but that was kind of cool. Just a quick little video. I just popped up and I thought it looked interesting. So hope you enjoyed, and I will check in with y'all later.